The oil screamed before I did. A pan seized in my hand. A truck horn cleaved the air. Rubber burned. Rain hissed. Metal blossomed white. Then nothing, no grief, no hunger, no one calling my name until light punched through my eyelids and winter bit my cheeks. I was 18 again. 1977. The loudspeaker in the commune crackled. The college entrance exam would return. My mother's hands were whole, my father's back straight, and the man who had ended me, Yan, had just walked back into our village as if fate itself had reset the board. I held my breath like it might escape. 10 yuan lay under my pillow, 3 jin of grain coupons hidden under the rice. In the last life, they were all I had after he died. This time, every coin would mean something different. The air smelled of wet straw and ash. I pressed my palm to my right eye, half ghosted from tears in the life I'd lost, and told myself out loud, don't waste this. Don't waste 1 second. Back then, the educated youths lived lighter than we did. Less field work, better food when cadres visited. But Yan city boy's shoulders slumped, pretended he was too proud to ask for lard or flour. He let his face go sallow, lips cracked, eyes soft and hungry. I had once tucked lard under his rice to bring color back to his skin. I had once taken his poems and believed them. This time I slid the lard into my parents' bowls and kept my own portion lean. This time I taped my heart down. He stayed in our mud brick room because lodgings rotated. That was the rule. My youngest uncle, the jigging team leader, bent those rules when I begged before. Not now. On the first morning of my second life, I washed out the bowl Yan had touched, carried his cotton quilt out to the yard, and told my uncle, rotate him out today. My voice didn't tremble. My uncle's cigarette paused at his lip. You used to plead for him. I looked at the ash, thought of his coughing in 15 years that never had to come, and said, too much smoke brings bad luck, uncle. Switch Yan with Zhu. Quiet, thin Zhu. The girl who once would save my life and be broken for it. That night the rain came hard. Thunder found the rafters. In the other life it was the night he chose me because his first love had rejected him. Chose me like a drink. I bolted my door and kept the lamp low. He knocked anyway, soft, as if we were a secret already. Anne, are you sleeping? If you think I'm sleeping, why knock? In the silence, thunder replied for me. I slept, and it was the best sleep I had had into lives. Morning was smoke and millet and my father's knock on my door. Take an umbrella to Yan at the station. In the last life I went. In this one, I held my bowl, added an extra spoon of lard to my parents' slate rice, and shook my head. I need to see uncle about the rotation. I walked away while Yan's voice, too bright, tried to catch up. And good morning. The umbrella handle I didn't carry felt like a bone I refused to break again. We still had to share air. He taught literacy at the station. I attended at night because books were scarce. He watched me trace characters and didn't hide the way his gaze lingered. You're not like the others, he said once, voice a shade too soft. He pressed a page of copied poem lines into my palm. Rainbows after storms, cicadas at dusk, frogs in chorus. Pretty words. In the past they were keys. This time I locked the door. But jealousy has a smell. One evening, the neighboring village screened the film on a sheet. I had washed, braided my hair, pulled on clean clothes that still smelled faintly of ash, and called to my friends. Yan's eyes flicked, black with a sharpness I had once mistaken for care. You've been near Lay lately. He's easy. He's not good for you. And then that quick step closer, his hand catching mine, his voice lowered. For you I'd stay. Last life I trembled at that. This time I drew my hand back and stared at the sky. There were no rainbows, just a bruised blue evening, too honest to lie. The next day, we fought in the open. He cornered me on the path near the fields, trying to pull me into shade that would make us look like a couple. We struggled. We slid into a drainage ditch, wet to the knees. Villagers laughed, curious. He straightened, water dripping down his jaw, and said in a voice meant for a crowd, if you want a title, fine. We can make it official. He looked at me like I should be grateful. In the old life, I might have been. This time I brushed mud off my sleeve, held his gaze, and said clearly, a creditor and a debtor. Yan owes my family 10 yuan. I came to collect. Laughter turned to whispers. His face went white, then red. He ground his teeth enough to spark. Keep pretending, and you'll miss your chance to change your fate. My fate was not a man. It was a date on the calendar. The Gaokao. I had walked those test papers in my past life until I knew where every comma sat. Now I needed the books and the light to reach them. No teacher would lend to a barely literate village girl with airs. Even the village schoolmaster, kind eyes folding with pity, told me, even if you copied, you couldn't finish in time. My mother, gentle like warm cloth, touched my hair. "And be practical. There may not be a single person in the county who passes." I nodded and took the lamp anyway. Only Zhu looked down and slid 2 worn textbooks into my hands in the dark, pages grease-thin by other people's hope. Her hands were small and warped from work. "You're not going back to the city?" I asked. She shook her head. "We have 1 room, 5 bodies. My mother told me not to come back, just send money." I gripped her fingers. "Study with me." She opened her mouth like the word hurt. "They laugh." "Let them," I said. "We'll make them lose." By day, we bent our backs, weeding, threshing, hauling. By night, our eyes burned. Smoke from the oil lamp ate the edges of the characters. We blinked tears into the margins. I heard my heart in the dark, slow, stubborn. It made a sound like a foot walking toward a door. Yan sent another jicking to my door with a glance that said he controlled gates now. "Half the debt returned, 8 yuan in dull coins. He wants to help you too," the boy offered. "A neighbor needs a maid, food and lodging. In your free time, Yan will tutor you. He says you'll only hurt yourself like this." I pushed the door closed so gently it made no sound, then opened it fast and let it slam in the boy's face. "Tell him I don't accept charity from debtors." For the first time, fear showed in Yan's eyes when he stepped into view. Not fear of me, fear that I wouldn't play his game. Rumors sprouted like fungus. "She thinks she can pass? She can't score 10 points in one subject. She's crazy because the city boy dumped her." Laughter rolled up the lane. It never reached Zhu. She kept her head low, mended my torn sleeve, slid boiled leaves into my bowl. My brother began to leave food for her, combing his hair smooth like he was practicing a better life. One night he brought us a plate of wild jujubes, golden, clean. Zhu's cheeks pinked. I shut our door gently and took her hand. "Don't let this move you. There are bigger fruits beyond these hills. We will taste them. Then, if you still want these, you'll pick them yourself." The exam was scheduled in winter, another province. We had no money for travel, so we left before dawn with millet cakes wrapped in cloth and hope tied tight so it wouldn't rattle. At the township border, my mother pressed a paper talisman into my fist. "Pass or not, keep yourself safe." My father didn't speak, just placed his dry hand on my head the way he did when a calf was skittish. Zhu whispered, "If we fail, we'll still be alive. If we fail," I said, and surprised myself with the steadiness in my own voice. "We'll try again." At the gate of the exam school, it happened. Yan, standing under the eaves, holding the wool gloves I had knit for him in the last life. Back then he'd mocked them as ugly to thick to plain. He had kept them. He turned them in his hands now like a prayer. "Anne," he said, tone gentle, almost wounded, "a girl like you will not come to a good end by defying the tide. This money, this effort, aren't you just trying to spite me?" The girl beside him, Miley, freckled and pretty in a way that wanted to be cruel, tilted her chin. "Is this the villager you promised to bring to my aunt's house as a maid? She looks shabby enough. Better yet, our neighbor has a son who limps perfect match." Zhu, who shook when men raised their voices, stepped forward. "Then you're a perfect match too," she said and stammered, and still did not stop a crooked brain for a crooked leg. The air tightened. Miley's mouth thinned. Yan moved to soothe her, voice smooth. "Don't let them affect your performance." She arched a brow at him and then at me. "You think you can pass? Fine, let's wager. If you pass, I will publicly apologize and cook you a fish banquet with my own hands. If you fail, you'll haul water for the school canteen for a month." Her eyes glittered. "Deal?" People around us leaned in, the crowd as hungry as any stomach. "Deal," I said. "And if I pass, Yan returns every coin he owes my family and posts the IOU on the station wall." Yan's smile faltered. He glanced at the gloves. He nodded anyway. In the exam hall, chalk dust hovered like fog. The proctor's pen tapped the desk. The paper landed in my hands and I knew it like an old road. Characters that had cut me once now peeled back for me. I wrote until my hand cramped and kept writing. Outside, winter pressed its face to the windows. When time was called, the room exhaled. Radio static bit at the edges of the day. In my chest, something let go. Not relief, not yet, just the knowledge that I had not betrayed myself. A month stretched like a rope pulled tight. We worked, We studied in case a retake came. Laughter followed me. I wore it like rain. Then the radio crackled one noon. A neighbor's boy ran with his crutch high in the air. Good news, good news. I kept stacking firewood because in the last life hope had broken me. Zoo's hands shook so hard she couldn't tie a knot. Villagers leaned over our wall with soft voices sharpened by boredom. Even the school teacher said he'd barely crossed 80 points. I felt the line of my mouth go still. The drums and gongs arrived before the mailman. The yard filled and hissed with breath. Yan came first, a smugness that got there before his shoes did. 200 points, someone whispered, "I like smoke." He slipped into our shed as if he belonged there, eyes darting to where I had once kissed him. "And," he said softly, "I've made things clear with Miley. If you can't stay here, I know a family in Beijing. You can be a helper. They'll feed you. I'll tutor you on weekends. Your reputation, well." He put a hand on my shoulder. The nerve in my jaw twitched. He looked at my mouth. "I've always had feelings for you." The gate banged wide. The boy with the crutch shouted over him, spit flying, face blood hot with excitement. "It's not for you, city brother. It's for Anne and Zhu. The township officials are coming too." Yan's face broke just a flicker, then hardened. "Impossible," he snapped. "Did you add up all 8 subjects?" Fingers reached for the paper in my hands. Arms stopped them. The drumbeat rolled in like a tide. I looked at him and let the steadiness in me show. 200 points, I said quietly. "And you dream of Peking University? Maybe try a smaller school in Hubei." His ears went scarlet. "Even if I die, I won't. When will you return the 10 yuan?" I cut in. "You owe my family a month of work points. That buys 40 jin of rice. That pays a year of middle school FEs. Don't make me write it on the station wall for you." The courtyard exploded. Miley late, flustered, scarf bright pushed through the crush, smile pasted on. "So lively. Is it Beijing University?" "Yan, why do you look ill?" I laughed before I could stop myself. Her eyes snapped toward me. "What are you laughing at? Whether he passes or not is none of your brother." I called, loud enough for the drum to miss a beat. "Go catch a soft shell turtle." Miley promised a fish banquet when I passed. Miley's face tipped from pink to chalk. Zhu stepped to my side, voice steady for the first time. Both of us passed. The crowd went feral with delight, but my eyes were on Yan. He stared at the gloves in his hands as if warmth had betrayed him. Yan's face drained of color, like the life had been sucked from him. He stumbled back, muttering, "No, no, it can't be." The villagers pushed him aside to make room for the postman. The envelope, thick and real, landed in my hands. Red characters glared on the page, Peking University. My parents stood stunned, mouths open, eyes wet. My mother whispered, our Anne did it." Yan lunged, trying to snatch the letter, but the crowd pulled him back. "You said she'd never pass," someone shouted. "Now pay the debt," another cried. His lips trembled. "It's just 10 yuan, so petty." I held the paper high. 10 yuan is 40 jin of rice. 10 yuan is a year of school FEs. 10 yuan is my life you stole. The yard roared with agreement. Miley covered her face and fled. Zhu gripped my arm so tight it left marks. That night, as firecrackers boomed, I packed quietly. Yan cornered me behind the shed, eyes wild. "Anne, forgive me. We belong together. Don't leave. Without you." All his hands shook, reaching for me. I pulled free. "We never began. Yan, there's nothing to forgive." His roar split the night as villagers came running. I didn't turn back. Beijing was another world. Stone gates, vast classrooms, a future bigger than I had dreamed. I studied till my bones ached, building the life he said I could never have. Years passed. Zhu became a lecturer. I started a factory in Shenzhen, giving work to the same kind of villagers who once mocked me. One summer, I returned to build a road so no girl would walk miles barefoot for books again. At the opening ceremony, drums thundered. My parents, old but proud, clutched my hands. Zhu stood beside me, smiling through tears. And in the distance, I saw him, Yan. His hair was already white, his shoulders hunched, his eyes hollow. He hurled a rock at the dirt, powerless, a shadow of what he could have been. I turned my face to the road, to the children running along it barefoot, laughing, their futures wide open. For the first time into lives, I felt light. My story wasn't about him anymore. It was mine.